Wünschst du dir jemanden, der dich versteht wie kein anderer? Jemand, der deine Wünsche wahr werden lässt und mit dir das schönste Abenteuer deines Lebens erleben möchte? Die Commerce-Plattform Shopify revolutioniert Millionen von Unternehmen weltweit. Mit Shopify richtest du im Nu deinen Online-Shop ein, ganz ohne Programmier- oder Designkenntnisse. Dank der effizienten Einrichtung und intuitiven Social-Media- und Online-Marketplace-Integration kannst du über Instagram, eBay und Co. werben und verkaufen. Neue Zielgruppen zu erreichen war noch nie so einfach. Shopify bietet auf einer einzigen sicheren Plattform alle Tools, um dein Online-Business aufzubauen. Kostenlos testen und dein Business der Welt präsentieren. Shopify.de/try besuchen. Einfach shopify.de/try eingeben und loslegen. Made for Germany. Powered by Shopify.
Extending research-based advocacy to all Nigerians forms a critical part of the NESG mandate. At different times, the NESG conducts research-based advocacy by employing public education and community mobilization strategies.
The diversification of this economy is very, very important.
Research-based advocacy allows for social voice, prioritization, and bringing different actors together for dialogue towards sustainable and inclusive development in our country. Welcome to NESG Radio.
Hello there, welcome to the NESG podcast. My name is Oluwase Vincent. So today we will be speaking to Dr. Osasui Dirisu. She is the Deputy Director of the Policy Innovation Center, the PIC, at the NESG. So we'll be speaking to her about behavioral insight and the PIC. So the PIC is a dedicated not-for-profit center at the NESG. It applies lessons from behavioral insights to find evidence that will inform better policies and decision-making in Nigeria. So just a bit about Dr. Osasui. So she is a development and gender expert with extensive experience implementing research and development projects on social determinants of health behavior, health systems, gender inequalities, as well as social and economic inclusion. She was most recently the Research Director at the Population Council Nigeria, and in that role, she led the design and implementation of monitoring, evaluation, research and learning projects across Nigeria. Welcome, Dr. Osasui. So I'm sure everyone is wondering, what exactly is behavioral insight?
Thank you, Shay. Behavioral insights is the use of lessons from behavioral and social sciences to understand how people behave in practice. And it's important to understand how people behave in practice because contrary to assumptions that people always make rational decisions, we know that people don't always make rational decisions that maximize their utility, maximize their benefits, or that are best for them. And so understanding how people behave can help to think and reflect better about what the exact problems they have are. And when we understand what problems are, we define them better. Then we can reflect on how to test interventions or solutions that account for the biases in the way people think. And then when we are able to do this, then we can design better interventions for them. More importantly, when it comes to policy making, if policies are based on assumptions that are wrong, then the policies are set up to fail. So when we make policies based on the evidence we derive from the application of behavioral insights, for example, then we can think about, improving public policy and supporting governments to make better evidence-based decision making that can improve people's lives.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. So people are not always rational. So I think that's one of the important things that we can take away from what you've just said. So behavioral insight is really important in shedding light on the psychology of people. Thank you for that. Okay, so question 2. So there are over 400 behavioral initiatives What are some of the major results that have been recorded using behavioral insight?
Thank you. So behavioral insights has been used across a wide range of sectors, because when you think about decision-making, choices, biases, that can happen in different fields, in healthcare, in agriculture, in transparency, in education. So BI has been used across a wide range of disciplines. It's been used, for example, to improve tax compliance. I mean, it's difficult, for example, to ask people to pay tax because they have so many competing interests that they want to use their funds for. So BI has been used to engage people better and improve tax compliance across a lot of countries in the UK, and in a lot of developed countries. BI has also been used in agriculture to improve farmers' understanding of the dynamics of productivity, to improve teamwork. BI has been used in anti-corruption to get people to think differently about their perceptions around corruption and to get people to be more inclined, to be transparent. BI has also been used in healthcare. I mean, during the COVID pandemic across the globe, even including Nigeria, there were a lot of BI programs that were used to improve compliance to COVID-19 protocols by helping people to think better about why they needed to be part of the move to end the pandemic. So BI has a real wide application, and I must say at this point that although it's been fragmented, BI has also been used within Nigeria in the past decade, although this was driven mainly by external organizations, international development organizations coming to implement programs in Nigeria. And I think that's the beauty of now having the PIC institutionalized to drive BI in Nigeria.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. So it has a wide range of applications. So next question. So can you shed some light on why BI is relevant in the Nigerian policy or program environment?
Yes, coming to Nigeria. First of all, Nigeria is an ethnically diverse country. Cultures, religion, different things. We have like an increasing youth population. So when you think about policy making for a country like Nigeria, it cannot be one size fits all. You can't just think within the box, because the box is full of a lot of components. And so how do you make policies, that account for the context, the diverse context, northern, southern Nigeria, southeastern, south. And so that's where the application begins, to ensure that government makes policies that are relevant and that are contextually relevant and that works. It is important to drive evidence of what would work in which context. And that's where BI comes in. So BI gives us that opportunity to test interventions, to get a better understanding of how problems should be defined. Sometimes, you think around corruption, or you think around, women inclusion, for example, in agriculture. And everyone in the room has like 50 to 100 reasons why there's corruption in Nigeria, and 50 to 100 reasons why there are a lot of, issues with including women, for example, in agriculture. Some are normative, some are due to cultural beliefs, So how do we begin to shape the evidence that would ensure, because we also have limited resources. So the application of BI, is to think around the context, drive the evidence that makes decision making easier for lawmakers, because we have considered the context, we know what would work, and we're not borrowing, for example, something from another country that is contextually different from Nigeria. So once we think around adopting BI within the Nigerian environment, we can drive and shape public policy better.
Great. So before the recent launch of the PIC at the 27th Nigerian Economic Summit, NES 27, there was an interim policy innovation unit. Could you highlight some of the major achievements of this interim unit?
Thank you. So the interim unit was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and also driven by Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. And the key reason why that interim PIU was set up was to demonstrate a proof of concept for the application of behavioral insights in Nigeria. And so the interim PIU partnered with the Nigerian Social Investment Office to improve the success of some of the programs that the NSIO was running at that time. So, for example, we had the cash transfer program, and the interim PIU tested interventions about how to improve savings, because it's not just enough to transfer funds to people. You want them to improve savings and then consequently improve their livelihood. So one of the programs was the cash transfer programs, and the interim PIU tested programs that would help to improve savings. There was also the program around nutrition, homegrown school feeding program. And so the interim PIU also supported how to improve, the outcomes for the cooks and for the beneficiaries of that program. And there was also the Empower project. And part of what the interim PIU did, for the Empower project was also to improve savings, but also entrepreneurial planning among beneficiaries. So findings from the interventions that were tested by the interim PIU supported improvement of the programs that the NSIO was running at that time, and also consequently to improve outcomes and sustainability.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Osasuyi. Okay, so the PIC recently concluded 2 design workshops in Abuja focused on behavioral insight for transparency and development. What were the outcomes and what are the implications for stakeholders in Nigeria's public and private sectors?
So the PIC is new, and one of the things that we're trying to do is gauge, first of all, an understanding of BI, and then try to understand where the gaps are. So we started these design workshops in December to systematically document where the gaps are, both in design, implementation, monitoring and evaluation, and sustainability of programs across different sectors. So the design workshop for transparency, during that workshop we had stakeholders, a wide range of stakeholders, public and private sector, from the accountability and transparency sector, come together and sit down to reflect deeply, systematically on how interventions in that area are currently being designed, and so that we can collectively come to a shared understanding of where the gaps are and what sort of direction we need to go in the future with designing and implementing projects. One other thing about that, we are currently running a funded grant from MacArthur Foundation on accountability and transparency. And so one of the things we're designing a training program for that sector. So that design workshop also helped us to get feedback from stakeholders on where the gaps are with capacity, so we can build that into the training program. And then for development, we had a wide range of stakeholders from health, education, agriculture, sit down to reflect on where the gaps are. We're currently forging partnerships with a lot of partners that came for that project, and we're hoping to see a lot more collaborative work this year and beyond.
Great, fantastic. So these design workshops have been highly effective in helping you to achieve your goals of improving the use of behavioral insight in transparency and development. Okay, yes. So finally, how can public and private sector stakeholders partner with the PIC for behavioral insight research, training, and other priority interventions?
Thank you. So the PIC right now is at the nexus of supporting the private and the public sector. And because of that, we have been having a wide range of conversations with organizations in private sector, but also with public sector stakeholders. So we're just a phone call away. One of the ways that stakeholders can partner with us is to attend our design workshops, which will always be publicized, and circulated. Or they can even reach us, through our social media handles or our website, so we can start that conversation. But we are open to discuss. We know that BI is new, so we're investing a lot of our time to have these preliminary conversations that help to onboard organizations, understand what BI is about, and begin to have conversations about how we can actually work collaboratively to make impact.
Fantastic. So it's been great talking to Dr. Osasuyi about behavioral insight and the PIC and how it can be used in policy making. So I'm sure you will agree with me that it's absolutely critical for us in Nigeria to adopt more behavioral insights and also to use the takeaways from the different studies implementing behavioral insight in policy making. So thank you very much, Dr. Osasui, and thank you, listeners, for staying with us from the beginning up until this point. For more information, please visit www.nesgroup.org/podcast. Do have a great one.
Thank you for listening to our content today. Remember to subscribe to the NESG Radio. Follow us across all social media channels and visit our website www.nesgroup.org/NESG Radio. NESG, in the national interest.